Hi, Jeff Bailey here with the Thrive in 5 bonus. I'm super excited to share this 25-minute class with you where we put it all together. You know, movement is medicine, but only if we target the places that don't move. We're just so used to thinking if I keep moving, everything's going to be okay. But the loose places get looser and the tight places go unrecognized and avoided. So stay with me here, and we're going to target the tight places, which tend to be in these big joints, the hips and the low back. So here we go. You remember this one. You can sit on the floor or on some sort of cushion. I'm going to demonstrate today on the cushion. Remember, we need to be a few inches away from the wall, and we'll start with the soles of the feet together. Lean back against the wall. If you don't have wall space, you could lean back against the front of a couch, anything supportive to allow you to begin to get some curvature and release into the low back. Why? Because we're so attuned to this upright, straight, get all the curves right posture. No, we want movement. So we soften into the shape, close your eyes, and then slowly start to curve forward. You can use your hands, use your abs, and see if you can peel your spine off the wall without using a big burst of movement. Okay, you'll feel your abs engaged to do that. That little tiny cue alone is important to bring a little movement into the low back. You start to curve. That's it. Your hands are about shoulder width apart. Now they could be on your legs, your knees, they could be out here on the sides, wherever they feel supportive, just not close together. All right, and then feel the sensation, resonate with the feedback, which means we don't judge the feedback, we don't evaluate, we just work with what shows up. Now, ideally, the shape induces a sense of calm. I'm not trying to advance the shape, not really trying to get it right. Working with the feedback. Yeah, see, I've done this shape probably thousands of times, and even now I can feel a little tightness across my low back. It's the ongoing target. It's too easy to stretch and crane the head and neck forward and broaden the upper back. That's really never helpful. It may feel good, but it's not, generally speaking, the stiff place. Now remember this cue. Just for a moment, press into your feet and feel for the back edge of your sit bones. You maintain the curve, but you press back. Ah, now I feel even a little more depth into the stiffness. See, the stiffness is not the problem. There's something deeper that is. All right, and then slowly raise back up. It's beautiful. Come on back to the wall if you have the wall for support. And we'll switch across the legs. We'll put the left one in the front. That means the right shin is parallel to the wall behind you or the wall in front of you, centered on the bolster. Now, with time, we move the feet laterally. They move apart. I should mention that for some people, the shape looks like this. The knees are high. Even the previous Baddha Konasana shape, the knees can be high. All right, we'll work with that. Come into the regular online classes. We have lots of ways to help with different details in the shape. For now, we're going super basic. In many ways, the basics is all we really need. Curve forward, stay on top of the bolster, walk your hands out about shoulder width apart. We are using the shape and therefore using the muscles to target the bones and the joints. Completely opposite to most therapy paradigms. So if you feel a strong burning sensation, if you feel it strong in the musculature, raise yourself up a little bit or lift your knees up a little bit. So you can use the muscles in your inner legs to hold your knees up. I don't like to support with blocks or sandbags or support because then we just end up supporting the problem. It's okay to let the knees drop. It's okay to deepen into the curve. It's okay to press the feet into the floor a little bit. Find some stiffness in the low back as you work through the hips. Remember, the hips and the low back work in unison. Such a helpful, valuable shape. Raise up. Pause a moment. See, can you feel the meditation in each shape? So let each shape speak to you. Switching the cross of the legs, the right leg in the front. See if you can challenge your feet laterally a little bit. Is that a requirement? No. The only requirement is a gentle willingness. Slowly come off the wall. Feel your whole spine curve. You can even resist with your feet a little bit here. In fact, the more flexible you are, the more you need to resist with the feet in order to stay on top of the bolster or to stay centered on your sit bones. Soften into the shape, hands shoulder width apart, head, neck, shoulders relaxed, even though we might be supporting a little bit with the hands. Now, if you have any kind of arthritis or some old hip injury or even a low back injury, you may feel right now that you're moving into that problem. Okay, that's what we want, but we go at a pace where everything feels helpful, inviting, safe. Yeah, in a way, it's the turtle's approach to change and a turtle's approach to yoga. And it was the turtle that won the race. Remember that? Slowly come on up. Excellent. Pause a moment. See if you can really let gravity have your body. Drop into your structure. Okay, remember what's next? Same shapes, but now we're reclined. So, because it's a bonus video, I'm going to teach you a variation. So remember, I taught you when you're in bed, you probably don't have anything underneath your feet. You could, but now just have a doubled up blanket, something folded as a variation. You don't have to run and get that right now. Just, one of these days as you develop your practice, you'll change it up a little bit. And you're going to lie back and have your feet on some sort of cushion just raised up a little bit. And then soles of the feet together, knees wide. So what are we doing? By elevating the feet, we change the shape and how we approach the hip. It actually helps the low back move into the floor, especially as we press the feet into the floor or the support. So watch me for a second. As I press my feet, my knees rise a little bit. All right, that's fine. I'm not trying to push the shape. I'm using it. I'm letting the shape work for me. Pressing into the feet, the knees rise, moving my low back toward the floor. And I'm just going to hold that a moment, pressing the feet, doing my very best to get my low back onto the floor, which for most people, it arches up. The shape naturally, the low back naturally arches up in the shape, but now I'm going to press to move it down. I'm going to sustain that. Again, I feel the transmission of this effect pressing into the bolster. I feel that through my hips, my low back moving down, the belly hollowing out. There's a release along the diaphragm and the low ribs. Okay, then let's rest. See if the knees drop a little bit. All right, your shape may look like this. Your knees might be high, and that's all right. We'll just let gravity have them. We will use a little weight. We use sandbags at different placements on the body to encourage an effect, not to advance the shape, but to get results. You may fit into that category. Just leave a comment below. I'll address that. Let's switch across the legs. Let's put the left in front of the right again. Whether you have the support or not, the legs are crossed. You're making this effort to get the feet to move laterally like that. All right, little cramp. Maybe you got one too. You got a nice little cramp in the outer right hip. It's pretty common. And when we get into a cramp like that, we know we're on to something. Don't freak out. Try not to react. See, mine is already abated. A cramp just means we're in new territory, and new territory is what we're all about. Find those stiff places. Welcome the feedback from them. In order to do that, we go deep and slow. And here the shape is mostly passive. I'm not pressing into my feet, although I could. There is that action. The knees may raise a little bit. See, this is very calming. Joints love pressure. Bones thrive under pressure. If an astronaut goes into space for very long, they come back with weak bones. They have to go through a whole rehab program to get their bones strengthened again with gravity. All right, let's switch the cross of the legs. You'll just raise your knees up, the right leg in front. Okay, so bones and joints love pressure. I got to work through the stiffness. In fact, the stiffness sort of pushes into the bones. That's how we get pretty fast results, because we're using stiffness in the muscles to push pressure into the bones where the problem is. And then as the bones and the joints get healthy, the muscles start to relax. See, we got it all backwards. We're trying to stretch muscles. They're not the problem. We don't go for muscle replacements, we go for hip replacements. With this practice, if you catch it at a decent amount of time, you'll be able to delay, if not completely avoid, those kind of surgeries. Okay, that's beautiful. Let's release the legs. Now with a little support, if you only had 10 or 15 minutes, now you're done with your practice. You've just given your hips and your low back all this love. All right, so you could just stretch your legs out, rest, and call it a practice. Just come back to it several times. But this is a bonus video. We're going to go through them all. So there's legs up on the wall. I'm going to add a little detail. Here's a folded blanket, just a dense folded blanket. If you don't have a bolster, it's a nice thing to use. The bolster is going to become my pillow. So I'm going to scoot in close to the wall. Remember this? Now, if you don't have a wall, you could put your legs 90 degrees over your sofa or find a chair that you can set up this way. It will have a very similar effect into the low back. The weight of the legs coming down, encouraging, all this weight coming down, encouraging the low back to relax into the floor. It's powerful, subtle and powerful. I could go on and on about the benefits of legs up the wall, but for now, just appreciate it. Soften, let your head rest. You could use a pillow, a cushion for your head, or not. And then, again, if you're following along, just let this work for you at another time. But now we're going to bend the knees, lift the hips, and just put a couple inches, maybe even just one firm inch under the pelvis, not the low back. Why? Because now I want my low back to drop. And I want to bring that sweet, passive, soft hammock curvature quality into the low back. We've got to gently get it to go the other way. Probably 1 in 20 people, 1 in 20 students tend to naturally have it. Most of us have to do a little work to get it. And to have a little bit of movement there, even though it may not be perfect, means less calcification, less narrowing of the foramen where the spinal cord goes. Movement keeps all that stuff away. So many shapes at the wall. We'll cross the left ankle over the right knee, slide the right knee down, or slide the right foot down the wall as the right knee bends. Maybe you can see it. I can certainly feel now how as my foot slides down, my low back is being encouraged into the floor. You could have your arms out in a T shape. There's lots of arm work we do here too, but we're focusing on the hips and the low back, so let's go there. Put your mind in your hip. Relax the belly. Relax the musculature all around your torso. Allow your low back to melt into the floor. Now, there may be a stretchy sensation in the left hip. We're targeting the left hip here. Don't overdo that stretch. In fact, let's go ahead. I'll talk about this on the other side. Slide the right foot up, release the left heel up onto the wall. Figure 4 shape. The right foot goes over the thigh near the left knee. Slide the left foot down. Proximity to the wall may adjust according to the feedback. Do we need a lot of feedback? Do we need a lot of sensation? No. Just feel yourself supported. Feel the shape working for you. And since muscles don't stretch, they really don't stretch, we're not going to target that stretchy sensation. We're just going to touch into it and let the stiffness in that muscle push forces into the hip and the low back. And then everything gets undone accordingly. Yoga at its best is an undoing. Okay, that's excellent. Slide the left foot up, release the right leg, back to the left knee. We'll interlock the fingers behind the thigh and just soften into the hip and the groin. Again, the shape is encouraging the low back to relax and move. If I feel a pinch or I feel a little pressure in the groin, that's perfect. I want that stiffness to, in turn, push my low back into the floor, which is why we never try to advance through any shape. There's a systematic undoing if we really listen. Work with the feedback moment by moment by moment. Deep, lasting change. So different than counting repetitions, counting the minutes, counting the seconds. No, we just be present here and now. Yeah, release the leg up. Change the interlock of the fingers. Bring the right knee toward the right shoulder. See, I feel a little interesting something in my hip today. All right, I'll just be with that. And I can already feel it starting to melt, release, let go. Soften, relax the foot, relax the toes, elbows in by the sides. These compressive forces are so healing on the hip, the low back, and then really here, all the contents in the belly. Compression is good and it's safe. It's not manipulative. When we tune in to the healing power of now, there is no manipulation. Yeah, sometimes you feel like you could stay in the power of now forever. This feels so good. It's peaceful. Okay, release the leg up. Lift yourself up. You can bend the knees, lift up, remove the support if you have it, and lower back down. Extend the legs up a moment. Engage your legs, push up through your heels. Just kind of a up the wall stretch. And then bend your knees. If you need to push back, do so. Roll to one side. You can even just pause on your side a moment. Support your head with your pillow or your bottom arm. And then when you're ready, push yourself on up. That's it. Okay, comfortably seated. Pause, sense, feel. See, we work into some of the sensations to feel more comfort, more ease, more peace and joy throughout the day. It's a gentle willingness to go into the discomfort. So even right now, you just sit, you feel without judgment. Notice the impact of your yoga on your body and your mind. Maybe develop a little gratitude for even the desire for a better way. Bring your hands to your heart. Namaste. Okay, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe to my channel here and visit me at avitayogaonline.com. I have loads of replays, loads of classes that will help you in lots of different ways. Work with your feet, your knees, your shoulders, all in this same thoughtful approach. Okay, hope to see you there.